This is a long needle that can make all women lose their fertility. The doctor simply sticks the needle into the girl's abdomen and she immediately loses her right to be a mother. The extracted eggs are then quickly packaged and sold to wealthy clients who are infertile. A single egg can cost up to 80 million won, equivalent to $60,000. Money-driven shady human trafficking organizations are flourishing. They would go out on the streets to find suitable single women and quickly knock them out and return them to the abandoned warehouses when they weren't looking. To get more eggs, they would overdose the girls with ovulation drugs, never thinking about the future of the girls. On this day, Jack and David, police academy students who aspire to be crime fighters, are walking the streets when they witness arrogant criminals kidnap a girl in the street. Without saying a word, the two went after them. But the four legs, how can not run four wheels? Chasing a few hundred meters, the car disappeared. The two saw the situation and rushed to pull out their cell phones to call the police. But I did not expect, the operator told him, that it would take at least 10 minutes for the police to arrive at their place. And the first thing after the patrol car arrived were to take the two to take a statement. The two thought that they should take a taxi to the nearby police station to minimize the police time. But I did not expect to see all the police officers just walked into the police station door and panicked to pack up their things and rushed outside. The two rushed to stop a police officer to ask about the situation. The police officer was very impatient to explain to the two men that there is a large plutocrat's grandson missing. The director arranged for police officers to go out to look for the child, their affairs, and so on. Back to say, Jack said that the kidnap is a young woman. According to the textbook data, they will mostly happen within 7 hours. I hope the police can be as soon as possible to the police. The police officer helplessly looked back at his teammates who were preparing to get into the car, and then shook Jack's hand and turned to leave. Two young people who were well educated by the reality of some confused standing in front of the police station. The more you think about it, the more you think this is not right. For the sake of the girl's safety, two people simply investigated the clues themselves. They returned to the scene of the girl's murder and found a vendor nearby who knew the girl. According to the vendor's description, they learned that the girl was a skilled earpicker. The men ran to the front door of the ear-picking store and remembered that the police school strictly forbids students to enter entertainment venues, and if they are caught, they will be expelled from the school immediately. The two men thought long and hard and finally decided to take a chance. By way of rock, paper, scissors, David managed to stay at the gate and Jack walked in with his head held high. Jack, a young police college student, was experiencing the gentle service of the ear-picking technician. He saw the technician gently put his head on his lap and gently talked about the price of extra time. Jack then realized that he was here to investigate the case. A look up and was shocked by the waves of the girl. Had to only wildly slap their own face to regain consciousness. Jack and the girl to talk about the little girl was taken when two patrol police officers accidentally stared at the store. Seeing that they are about to open the door to enter, David panicked. Had no choice but to stand at the door and yell. See, two people have not come out, simply opened the door face to face, sprayed up. Cursing, turned around and ran. Two police officers angry enough to follow the wild chase. Three people chasing a fugitive soon came to a few streets away. Not much exercise in the day-to-day. Police really cannot run. This kid thought to find a reason to let go. I did not expect David to see the two did not follow and turned around and ran back. Under the cover of David, Jack finally found out that the kidnapped girl called Boa because the runaway here to employment, but also found out where Boa went. Then the two ran away from the police all the way over. I must say that young people are really good at physical strength. When they knocked on the door of Boa's house, a lecherous yellow-haired man came out and asked them what they were doing. The two brothers immediately identified themselves and said they were here to investigate Boa's case. The yellow hair of the thief's mind also did not answer the turn to jump out of the window and run away. But unfortunately, in terms of physical strength, is not the opponent of the two, soon caught up by Jack. The yellow hair was subdued immediately after the explanation of the truth. It turns out that he was the one who sold his roommate Boa's information to the human trafficking organization for the sake of profit. Luckily, yellow hair still had the business card left by the human trafficking organization on him. However, according to the address on the card, to a small restaurant. Apparently, this is a general family restaurant. But the warehouse is locked up, a bunch of young girls kidnapped. Smart David did not voice, but secretly took out the yellow hair of the phone to the traffickers, dialed the phone. The result of the next table's phone suddenly rang. Successfully identified the traffickers. Two people were ready to go out to the police. Unexpectedly, the trafficker even called. Yellow hair of the phone ringing immediately exposed the identity of the two people instantly. The two had no choice but to confront the 7 or 8 gangsters in front of them. Fortunately, usually in the police academy when not less training in combat, After a few minutes, the two successfully put down a few gangsters and then pressed the gangsters to take them to the warehouse where the girl was held. Now they found that there were dozens of innocent girls here, including Boa, who had been taken away that day. The two men found a blanket to wrap around Boa and were about to carry her to the nearest police station when support from the human trafficking organization arrived. Dozens of thugs blocked them in a corner. The two were hung from the warehouse ceiling with their fists in the air. David woke up from a coma and realized that he and Jack were hanging from the ceiling. But the traffickers still underestimated David's ability, only to see David aflip directly on the ceiling feet. Then the legs forcefully stomped off the rope fell to the ground with a thud. Then the two men untied the rope and ran wildly. A group of traffickers are chasing behind. Seeing a police station in front of them, the two rushed in and told the police on duty about what just happened. But the police were calm and asked them to show their valid documents. They hurriedly explained that their cell phones and documents were taken away by the traffickers. And now the girl Boa's life is uncertain. So you should hurry to the police. But the police are still there to emphasize the procedure, requiring the two must follow the legal provisions to complete the reporting process. David was angry at that moment and greeted the immediate family of the police officer to his face, only to be stunned by the police officer with a gun for insulting the police officer. Fortunately, their school instructor received the news in time to intervene to bail them out. However, the instructor rushed to the warehouse, but unfortunately, it was already empty. See, two people are still not willing to. Instructor immediately said that the case will be sent to the criminal police department. But the Korean police department is relatively inefficient. The fastest 2 weeks before the investigation can be launched, said they were sent back to school. The brothers returned to school covered in bruises and took a shower but could not quench the flame of justice in their hearts. They are determined to continue the investigation. David had memorized the license plate information of the traffickers and simply called the communications instructor to ask him to help inquire about the van's trail, while also strengthening physical training, ready to meet with the traffickers again when the time comes. A day later, the female instructor finally helped them find the van. They rushed to the equipment room and received 2 sets of equipment in the name of the instructor, and they were ready to go. On the other hand, Boa and other innocent girls were being sent to the city's largest fertility hospital by the traffickers. The director is talking to a wealthy couple. In the dean's mouth, the eggs are all from beautiful young college girls. The couple was satisfied, unaware that David and Jack had arrived in the hospital parking lot. Seeing that dozens of traffickers are here, the two did not hesitate to rush into the crowd and throw up the sticks in their hands to do with each other. David knocked out several traffickers with his stick, but his back was also hit. The movement was slowed down a little by the trafficker's hold, followed by another trafficker on his left hand broken. At the same time, Jack was also cornered, had to roll over and jump into the car. He pulled out a police stun gun and successfully electrocuted the subsequent traffickers to the ground, convulsing. David sighed, although wounded, but also more and more courageous, but surprisingly alive through the crowd. After successfully entering the hospital surgery room, more than a dozen girls have been made unconscious is waiting in line to go to the operating table. The brothers rushed in at that moment to stop the operation and save the girls. Unfortunately, their actions violated school rules and they were about to face expulsion from school. To solve the problem of the two men, the school held a high-level meeting. Some people suggested that David and Jack's behavior is an illegal fight if the word does not seriously affect the reputation of the police academy, so the two should be expelled. At the critical moment, the two instructors came forward. Although the two men violated the police academy system to rescue the girls without permission, but the original intention is good and justice. The public is in danger, as a future police officer should first rush to save people before considering what procedural justice. If they chose to ignore all this, is really a shame for the school. Finally, the instructor led the topic to their generation of young people is not the same hot-blooded youth. A number of words down successfully impressed the principal. Eventually, the school punished the two. Repeat 2 years plus 500 hours of compulsory labor is to give a happy ending. Midnight Runners is a bloodthirsty movie. The most important thing as a police officer is not skillful but a heart to uphold justice. In a real crisis, can think more for the people.